What I'm about to share with you isn't just another political story. It's about something that happened right here in the Oval Office of the United States of America, the People's House. And it should disturb every single one of us, because what unfolded during that meeting wasn't just a scandal. It was a complete breakdown of presidential dignity. It was a moment that revealed something deeply troubling about where we are as a nation. Before we go any further, please hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way to help the channel. Now, let me be clear about what I'm going to tell you. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about foreign policy. That's something people can disagree on. What I am here to tell you is the truth about what happened in that moment. I am here to show you exactly how President Donald Trump folded under pressure, not under pressure from some adversary or competitor, but from a simple question, a basic, straightforward question from a journalist doing her job. And when that question came, Trump didn't just answer it. He attacked, he lashed out, and then he did something that no American president should ever do. He defended the indefensible. November 18th, 2025, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was in the Oval Office. This was his first visit to the United States in over 7 years, and it was the first time since Jamal Khashoggi, a Washington Post columnist, a journalist, and American resident, was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Let me be absolutely clear. The CIA confirmed that Mohammed bin Salman ordered that killing, not speculated, not suggested, confirmed. In 2021, the Director of National Intelligence released a declassified report that stated, "We assess that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi." The report goes further. It says the Crown Prince viewed Khashoggi as a threat to the kingdom and broadly supported using violent measures if necessary to silence him. This wasn't some ambiguous conclusion. Investigators intercepted a call where a member of the assassination team instructed an aide to Prince Mohammed to inform your boss that the task had been completed. Think about that. The very organization that answers to the man sitting across from Trump confirmed his involvement in a brutal killing. So there's Trump in the Oval Office, with a man whose government murdered an American journalist, with a man the CIA said ordered that murder. And what happens next is where this story gets truly shameful. A reporter asked a simple question. ABC News correspondent Mary Bruce asked why Americans should trust the Crown Prince, given that U.S. intelligence concluded he orchestrated the brutal murder of Khashoggi. It's the kind of question a journalist should ask. It's the kind of question that any patriotic American should want answered, but Trump didn't see it that way. Trump interrupted. He didn't politely disagree. He didn't calmly explain his position. He attacked the reporter. "You don't have to embarrass our guest asking a question like this," he said, his voice sharp with anger. Think about that language. A journalist asking about a murdered journalist is being accused of embarrassing a guest. When did accountability become an embarrassment? When did truth-telling become disrespect? But Trump wasn't done. He went on to describe Jamal Khashoggi as somebody that was extremely controversial. He said, "A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about." And then he delivered the line that should make every American's blood run cold. He said, "Things happened, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that." Let me unpack that for you. Trump just looked at the American people and said that a murdered American journalist deserved to be unalive because he was controversial. He suggested that it didn't matter what the CIA found. He suggested that the evidence didn't matter. And he did this while defending the man the intelligence community said ordered the killing. This isn't just wrong. It's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of the fundamental values that America is supposed to stand for. We are supposed to believe in a free press. We are supposed to believe that no one, not even a powerful prince, not even an ally, is above the law. We are supposed to stand up for journalists, especially when they're silenced by violence. But Trump didn't stand up. He bent the knee. The story doesn't end there. When the reporter tried to ask another question, this time about whether Trump's family doing business with Saudi Arabia while he's president represented a conflict of interest, Trump lashed out again. He attacked the reporter, calling her network fake news. He refused to answer. He didn't engage with the substance of the question. He just tried to discredit the messenger. Trump was asked about potential corruption involving his family, and instead of answering or explaining, he simply screamed fake news and attacked the person asking. That's not how a president operates. That's not how someone with nothing to hide operates. That's how someone acts when they don't want scrutiny. But it gets worse. The same reporter also asked Trump about documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender. Trump exploded. He said, "You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter." He insisted he had nothing to do with Epstein, claiming he had banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago many years ago because he considered him a sick pervert. Now, here's what we need to understand. Every time Trump was asked a legitimate question, he didn't answer it. He attacked. He screamed. He called everything fake news. This is not the behavior of someone who's confident in his position. This is the behavior of someone who's cracking under the slightest pressure. And let me tell you something, this was the slightest pressure. A reporter asking basic questions, questions that any journalist should ask. And Trump cracked completely. He couldn't control himself. He literally told one reporter, "No more questions for you." This is an American president in the Oval Office silencing a journalist for asking him questions. If that doesn't concern you, it should. Now, the Saudi Crown Prince himself gave a response to the Khashoggi question. He said it was painful and called the killing a huge mistake. He said they had conducted an investigation and improved their systems to ensure it wouldn't happen again. Now, whether you believe that or not is up to you, but here's the thing. When given the chance to address a serious concern, the Crown Prince at least attempted to address it. He acknowledged the pain. He acknowledged the mistake. Trump, on the other hand, spent his time attacking journalists and defending the person the CIA said ordered the killing. Think about what this means for America. We have a president who, when faced with evidence that a foreign leader ordered the murder of an American, doesn't demand accountability. Instead, he defends that foreign leader. He attacks the people asking questions. He dismisses the murdered journalist as controversial. This is not what America is supposed to be. Throughout his career, Trump has spent years defending Mohammed bin Salman against intelligence findings and evidence. In 2018, right after Khashoggi was killed, Trump said things like, "Maybe he did and maybe he didn't." He suggested the Crown Prince's denials were worth considering equally with the CIA's conclusions. He repeatedly emphasized Saudi Arabia's importance as an economic partner, as if business deals justified ignoring a murder. But this November meeting was different. This was Trump at his most defensive, his most aggressive, his most clearly unable to handle basic scrutiny. This was Trump showing the American people exactly who he is when the pressure is on. Here's the really shameful part. During that same conversation, Trump made a joke. He told the Crown Prince that there are restrictions on foreign donations to presidential projects. Then he said, "I want you to hear this directly. Otherwise, I would have asked you just for a check." Do you understand what Trump just did? He just told the Saudi Crown Prince in front of the world that the only reason he didn't ask for money to build a ballroom is because of legal restrictions. He's not denying that he would ask. He's just acknowledging that the law prevents him. This is stunning. This is the kind of thing that would have dominated headlines in any other presidency. A president practically admitting he'd accept foreign donations if he could legally get away with it. But we've become so numb to Trump's behavior that this barely registered. He joked about wanting Saudi money. He defended a man the CIA said ordered a murder. He attacked journalists. He screamed fake news when asked about his family's business dealings, and people just moved on to the next story. We cannot let that happen. We have to stop and really understand what just happened. This is about the rule of law. This is about whether America stands for something. Throughout history, great nations have fallen because their leaders stopped believing in the rule of law. They stopped thinking the rules applied to them. They surrounded themselves with sycophants and foreign powers who told them what they wanted to hear. They silenced anyone who asked tough questions. We are watching that pattern play out right here, right now. A patriotic American president, a truly patriotic president, would have said something different. They would have said, "Yes, I have a strong relationship with Saudi Arabia. Yes, they are an important ally. But we also have values. We believe in a free press. We believe that no one is above the law." And when the CIA, our own intelligence agency, concludes that a foreign leader ordered the killing of an American journalist, we have an obligation to pursue accountability. We can have that relationship and still demand justice. That's what a patriotic president says. But Trump didn't say that. He defended the killing, he attacked the reporter, he screamed fake news when asked about his family's business interests, he made a joke about wanting foreign donations. I want you to really sit with that for a moment. An American president in the Oval Office with a foreign leader whose government murdered an American journalist, and instead of standing up for that journalist, instead of standing up for the principle that American journalists matter, that American lives matter, Trump folded. He didn't just fold, he collapsed. Under the smallest amount of pressure, a question from a reporter, he completely fell apart. He attacked. He lashed out. He tried to silence the person asking the question. That's not strength. That's weakness. That's fragility. That's someone who knows he's in the wrong but doesn't have the character to admit it. And here's what really gets me. No American president has ever done this. No American president has ever been so quick to defend a foreign leader against his own intelligence agencies. No American president has ever attacked journalists for doing their jobs in the way Trump did that day. No American president has ever made jokes about wanting foreign donations while sitting with that foreign leader. This is not normal. This is not how the presidency works. This is not what America deserves. We need to understand that democracy only functions when we have a free press, when we have journalists who can ask tough questions without fear of retaliation, when we have a government that's answerable to the people, not to foreign princes and foreign money. Trump showed us that day that he doesn't believe in any of that. He believes in defending his friends. He believes in making deals. He believes in silencing anyone who gets in his way. He believes in attacking journalists. He believes in screaming fake news whenever something makes him uncomfortable. That's not leadership. That's not patriotism. That's authoritarianism. And the most troubling part? Trump cracked so easily. He couldn't handle one reporter asking basic questions. He got so flustered that he actually admitted he would want to ask the Saudi crown prince for donations if it were legal. He got so defensive about his family's Saudi business dealings that he just screamed at the reporter. This tells us something important. Trump is not equipped to handle the pressures of the presidency when they involve real accountability. When someone asks him a tough question, he doesn't engage. He attacks. He lashes out. He tries to intimidate. That's not the behavior of someone who belongs in the Oval Office. Think about what this moment means for America's standing in the world. Other countries are watching. They're seeing an American president defend a foreign leader against his own intelligence agencies. They're seeing him attack journalists. They're seeing him prioritize business deals over values. And they're thinking, here's a president we can work with. Here's a president who won't let human rights or democracy get in the way of what we want. That's dangerous. That's corrosive. That's the kind of thing that weakens America's leadership in the world. We have stood for something. For over 2 centuries, America has stood for the principle that no one, not even a king, not even an ally, is above the law. We've stood for the principle that journalists matter, that free speech matters, that accountability matters. Trump threw all of that away in the Oval Office on November 18th. He threw it away to defend a prince, to make a business deal, to score political points with an ally. That's what happened. That's the truth. That's what the American people need to understand. I want to be very clear about something. This is not about whether America should have relations with Saudi Arabia. We can debate foreign policy all day long. That's legitimate. That's democracy. What's not legitimate is what Trump did. What's not legitimate is defending a foreign leader against your own intelligence agencies. What's not legitimate is attacking journalists for asking questions. What's not legitimate is joking about wanting foreign donations. Trump had options that day. He could have said, we have a strong relationship with Saudi Arabia, and we're working together on many issues. That said, we have concerns about the Khashoggi incident, and we continue to monitor the situation. That would have been reasonable. That would have been presidential. That would have shown that America cares about values even while conducting business with allies. Instead, he chose to attack. He chose to defend. He chose to lash out. He chose to fold under the smallest amount of pressure. That tells us everything we need to know. We need leaders who believe in the rule of law. We need leaders who stand up for American values, even when it's uncomfortable. We need leaders who don't break down when a journalist asks a tough question. We need leaders who can say no to foreign donations, who can stand up to foreign leaders, who can prioritize justice over business deals. Trump is not that leader. He proved it in the Oval Office. He proved it when he cracked under pressure. He proved it when he attacked a journalist for asking about a murdered American. He proved it when he defended a man the CIA said ordered that murder. This is a moment that history will remember. This is a moment that defines who we are and what we stand for. And we need to ask ourselves, is this what we want America to be? Is this who we want representing us? The answer has to be no. The answer has to be that we demand better. We demand leaders with character. We demand leaders who won't fold under the slightest pressure. We demand leaders who believe that American journalists matter, that American values matter, that justice matters. Trump showed us who he is. He showed us what he believes in. He showed us that when push comes to shove, he'll abandon American values to protect a foreign prince and make a business deal. That's not the America I know. That's not the America we deserve, and we can do better.